on the back wall in one of their skiffs. Obviously, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that that's what they've been eyeing. We had, what was it, Rubio and CIA Director John Ratcliffe there recently. We've had multiple conversations with leadership there. They want to get them on the same page with America, and it looks like if you don't want to do it the easy way, then we're going to go in and we're going to do it the Trump way. But I think that this is a positive for America, and it does actually align with America First policies, because we can't have Russian listening posts, Chinese listening posts, Iranians in there that close to the mainland, ready, willing, and able to do something nefarious. And they're growing increasingly desperate. Well, they've been blockaded now for 5 months since Venezuela got taken out. There's no oil going in. They've been strangling them economically, and it looks like they want to make some sort of a deal. But if they don't want to make a deal, again, we could do it the Trump way. Carlos in Nashville is a Cuban American. What's up, man? Give me your perspective on what you're seeing.
Yeah, isn't it great that our tax dollars are going to pay for people that beat the crap out of police? You like that, right, Chris?
I didn't know that you were Cuban. You're telling me for the first time. I'm stunned. I thought your name was Carlos. It's our seminar caller. Stunning.
Isn't that great that our tax dollars are going to people that beat the living crap out of the cops? That's so wonderful. Those people are patriots.
You're mad about the J6ers and the funds that's going to be.
Yeah, you like that, don't you? Isn't it great?
I actually do like it. Thanks for the call. 615-737-9986. President Trump says the CIA and Marco Rubio were on Cuban soil dealing with the corrupt communist regime. And he made these comments yesterday before he was going to get on the plane, saying we're freeing up Cuba. Cuba is next. Watch this.
People there. We have the CIA there. We have Marco is there. Marco's parents, as you know, were from Cuba. So we have a lot of expertise in Cuba. And it's not going to be like the biggest thing we've ever done, but I will tell you, to a lot of people, it's going to be one of the most important. They've been looking for this moment for 65 years. So we'll see what happens. But we're going to, in the meantime, we're going to have to help them out. They have no way of living. They have no food. They have no electricity. They have no energy at all. But they do have great people. There are a lot of great people. I mean, I have so many Cuban friends in Miami, mostly in Miami and Florida, and they're unbelievable people. They're unbelievable entrepreneurs, and they'd like to go back. I think hopefully they're going to want to live here, but they want to go back. Maybe they'll invest. We'll see what happens. But we're freeing up Cuba.
So that's the president yesterday before he got on Air Force One. He also went on to say this is a very big moment for the Cuban people, and that we have Cuba on our mind. He says there's people that just want to go back there and see their family.
Big, very at levels that few people would understand. And I think the Cuban population of Miami, and certainly beyond Miami, people that came there that were decimated, whose families were ruined, appreciate what the Attorney General just did today and was just doing now. He's just watching it. So we have Cuba on our mind. Very important. Been a lot of problem for a lot of years, and this was I think it was a very big moment for people that, not only Cuban Americans, but people that came from Cuba that want to go back to Cuba, people that want to see their family in Cuba. I think this is a very big day, very important day. They supported me to the nth degree. They supported me at levels that nobody's ever seen before. And so I think it's a very important moment.
I think it is. I think it's a very cool moment, and I think that this one would be over relatively quickly. I mean, they have absolutely nothing there. They have been strangled economically. I know I made the point earlier, but since Venezuela went down, they've had nobody to give them oil. I think only one tanker made it through, and I think that was because the U.S. said, yeah, just send that tanker through. That's fine. The people need something there, and they have absolutely nothing. He was also asked, are you going to go in and get him a la Maduro?
I don't want to say that.
President's answer, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that, but we all know what that means. The option is definitely on the table. should they not want to turn him over. We'll be following this story very, very closely. We also have some more comments on the way from Stephen Miller, and we'll bring you some of those. And then at 10:35, Monty Fritts, who's running for governor in the state of Tennessee, he's going to be joining us to give us an update on the governor's race and also some moves that he's making at the state level because, as you know, still a state representative, and he says that things are getting a little unaffordable for Tennesseans, and Monty is making some moves that he wants to announce to you guys that could make things a bit more affordable here in the near future. 10:21, this is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And if your home is not as comfortable as it should be right now, it's probably time to call Busy Bee. And honestly, it's the best time to do it because they got some strong offers happening right now. If you need a new HVAC system, well, you can get special financing with up to 12 months, no payments, no interest, and no prepayment penalties. It's definitely going to give you some breathing room over the summer. And here's the bonus. If you install a high-efficiency system, 17 SEER or higher, they'll throw in a free Yeti Tundra 45 cooler. Not a bad deal. It's going to be awesome at the beach or at the pool. Now, if you're good on the AC, but you're more focused on air quality, well, check out their Healthy Hive package. It includes an electronic air cleaner and a whole home UV system. Normally, that's going to run you like $2,800, but today you can get it from Busy Bee for $22.99, and they'll even handle the TVA rebates for you, so you're saving more money on top of their great deals. We're talking up to $800 back on mini splits, $500 to $800 on heat pumps, and even $50 back on AC tune-ups. Again, they file the paperwork. You just sit back and save money. If you're good on air quality, you're good on the AC, but you got plumbing issues, they got deals there too. $300 off whole home drain repipes and $500 off water distribution repipes. So whether it's heating, cooling, plumbing, Busy Bee has you covered. 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
Chud the Builder goes to court. And the one thing that you should leave behind when you attend graduation ceremonies this spring. Those stories at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Jeff in Hendersonville wants to talk about Cuba. Is this actually Jeff, or is it the seminar caller again? Is it Jeff?
Hey, Chris, how you doing? Buenos dias.
What's up? What's up, Jeff? You doing all right, man? Long time no talk.
Hey, I'm good. Hey, just so I worked for Bacardi for 10 years, Cuban company, right? And Bacardi was the only Cuban company that was taken by Fidel Castro that was nationalized. So they literally just stole their business. So several of the Bacardi family and their friends joined up in the invasion of the Bay of Pigs and were caught on the beach and subsequently ended up in prison for a year. So you go to Bacardi headquarters in Miami. This is when it was in Miami. And there's all these old Cuban guys walking around with Guayaberas and big cigars. You're like, who are these guys, right? They're not family members. So you talk to them, and all these guys were in prison for a year. And every day, that whole contingent, I think there were about 30 of them, were taken out of their cells at 6 a.m. in the morning to a courtyard, dirt courtyard, forced to kneel in front of everybody with a pistol to the back of their head, and then the guards would pull the trigger, click. So every day for a year, it was an empty chamber, but they didn't know tomorrow was the day that they were going to get whacked.
Crazy.
So, yeah, so the family members, said, okay, we're going to take care of you for the rest of your life. So these guys just all hang around. It's like a mafia club, but, just amazing to talk to. And then when the whole Elian Gonzalez thing happened, we were given a national holiday. There's not a more patriotic group of people, but that just absolute clear purview into what a socialist progressive society can do to just absolutely grind people down and destroy a nation. So it's really interesting to see how this will all develop, but there's a little personal story that I got.
No, I appreciate it, man, and thanks for that insight and the perspective. I do think that we'll see a lot of positive coming out of Cuba once this is all said and done. Let's be honest, it's a beautiful island nation. Like there's no reason that they shouldn't be wealthy. Like if it wasn't for communism, it could be one of the wealthiest, most beautiful places on the planet. Communism does what communism does, though. But there's a lot of Cuban Americans that would go back there instantly in a heartbeat and create jobs and create wealth and really revitalize a lot of that. Meanwhile, Stephen Miller was going off on the Cuban communists after Raul Castro's indictment yesterday.
Cuba. What was going on in Cuba today, Jesse, is that long-awaited justice is being set in motion for the Americans who were viciously and brutally murdered by the Castro regime, by this communist outpost 90 miles off the shores of the United States of America. Many Americans may not realize this history. You had American planes, civilian planes, unarmed, running humanitarian missions in international waters, and Raul Castro and the Cuban communist military ordered them shot from the sky, murdering our American brothers. And now today, finally, accountability is coming for Castro. And a very important point about Cuba, which many Americans also may not realize but need to know. Cuba, positioned just a 45-minute flight from American shores, has been a staging ground for America's adversaries.
It has. And everybody knows it. Currently, the USS Nimitz, an aircraft carrier strike group, has just arrived in the Caribbean on the same day as the Castro indictment. They say that U.S. Southern Command says this is just a regularly scheduled exercise, just doing some drills. Nothing to see here. Okay. Or we're going to see a Maduro-style operation soon. There are reports that Havana could fall at any time because the regime is not getting free oil from Venezuela. The island is suffering from blackouts 23 hours out of the 24 every single day. This is the result of communism, and it looks like we're going to be making a move there very, very shortly. What do you think? Is it days or is it weeks? I would say probably within the next 3 weeks.
That sounds reasonable. Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Now, what happens next after that? Anybody's guess. That's when it gets dicey.
Yeah, that could be the long haul.
I think that there's a lot of people in the country that will be very, very happy.
Yeah.
I mean, just once you get the oil turned back on and people can put gas in their cars and turn on the electricity, I think that changes the entire dynamics on that island. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. On the way, we're going to talk to gubernatorial candidate Monty Fritts and State Representative Monty Fritts. He's got some plans to help make Tennessee a little bit more affordable, as all of us are dealing with insane gas prices. You're going to want to hear what Monty has to say. We'll talk to him when we get back. It's 10:31 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And the social media influencer known as Chud the Builder is due in court this morning. News 2's Maggie Weaver on the man whose real name is Dalton Etherly.
Today's hearing is expected to focus on whether Etherly will continue to be jailed under that estimated $1.25 million bond, or if a judge could change those conditions. Now, investigators do say that Etherly, known online as Chud the Builder, was involved in a shooting outside the Montgomery County Courthouse here last Wednesday. Authorities say both Etherly and another man were shot during this incident and taken for medical treatment. Now, court records do show that Etherly had been at the courthouse earlier that day for a separate civil debt appearance. Etherly is now charged with attempted criminal homicide, employing a firearm during a dangerous felony, aggravated assault, and reckless endangerment.
Chud reportedly shot himself during the confrontation with that other man. On the Iran conflict, we have learned that 3 vessels have been given the okay to transit through the Strait of Hormuz.
2 of them were Chinese flag carriers, and the 3rd was Korean. China's a key ally of Iran, of course. According to Windward, this maritime intelligence company which has released this information and data, is that they were all carrying Iraqi or Kuwaiti crude oil. It appears that the US has let them out because they're not breaching the US blockade, which is only on Iranian-linked vessels and vessels carrying Iranian crude or other products.
That's ABC foreign correspondent Tom Sufi-Burridge. And a reminder, if you are going to somebody's graduation this spring, to leave your gun at home. A Goodlettsville man learned that lesson the hard way after reportedly bringing a gun to Glencliff High School's graduation ceremony yesterday.
20-year-old Elijah Bowles has been charged with felony gun possession. Police say a metal detector activated after Bowles walked through it, and security found the weapon and then notified police.
That's News 2's Mark Kelly. Bowles' bond was set at $5,000. That's the latest news. Stick around for weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
1036 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Appreciate you guys listening, however you're listening, whether you're on one of the apps, the FM dial, or you're watching us on YouTube and Rumble. Thank you. We truly do appreciate it. Hit subscribe if you're on YouTube or Rumble. Help us keep growing that digital footprint of the radio station. Joining us now on the WTN hotline, gubernatorial candidate Monty Fritts, State Representative Monty Fritts. Monty, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Chris. How are you today?
I'm good, man. Give me an update on the campaign. Where are you at today, and how's it going?
I'm in Monroe County, Tennessee today in Sweetwater. We're about to do a Kiwanis Club meeting here in a moment. I've been knocking doors and getting haircuts in Sweetwater and spreading the message of liberty and less government here in this part of Tennessee.
Well, I'm here for it. And I understand that you are now making some moves in Tennessee to try and make things a bit more affordable as prices continue to go up as a result of the conflict with Iran. Can you give me a kind of a breakdown on what you're working on?
Absolutely, I can, Chris. I sent Governor Lee and Speaker Sexton and Lieutenant Governor McNally yesterday a letter asking that we suspend the collection of gasoline tax, 26 cents a gallon in Tennessee, diesel fuel tax, 27 cents a gallon, and state grocery sales tax, 4 cents per dollar, through at least the end of the fiscal year. I think this will help all Tennesseans. We have Tennesseans that are struggling not only to buy groceries, but to be able to put gas in their car to get to the grocery store. And I do that, Chris, based on this. We got this from Financial Review this week, and it says the FY 25-26 budget adopted by the General Assembly in April of 2025 assumed a revenue growth of 2.3% and a general fund revenue growth of 1.65%. For the first 9 months of 25-26, the actual revenue growth is 5.72%, and the actual general fund growth is 5.44%. So I give you that information just to let you know. I know lots of people are going to be concerned, well, can we afford to do that? As bad as we've allowed our roads to get and all those kinds of things, can we do this? We're over-collected for the year, past the $59.8 billion budget that we approved last year. I voted against that budget. But I think we're in financial shape in Tennessee to be able to help Tennesseans, and I think our fellow Tennesseans are looking for us to help them get through this really hard time.
So this would suspend. Okay, so you said you wrote him a letter, Governor Lee, Speaker of the House, Lieutenant Governor. This would suspend the gas tax, 26 cents a gallon, 27 cents a gallon on diesel until the end of the fiscal year, which would be till June 30th.
Yep, I've got it written till at least then. I'm not sure how long it's going to take the bureaucracy to move to make this happen. So we wrote it to be until at least that period of time. And I think, just to be honest with you, just that 30, 40 days is going to be a huge help to many of our fellow Tennesseans.
What do you think the odds are of the governor, the lieutenant governor, the Speaker of the House taking this seriously and acting on it?
Well, I spoke to Speaker Sexton yesterday. We didn't have a long conversation, but I spoke to him in the hallway. I think he has a heart for the people of Tennessee. I don't know what Governor Lee's approach will be to this. I really don't know. But 10 months ago, AAA estimated the price of gas in Tennessee to be $2.72 per gallon on average. Sunday, that average was $4.17 per gallon, so 53% increase. Something close to that in number one diesel and number two diesel. And I'll tell you, Chris, we're at a point where not only do we have our neighbors in Tennessee that are having a hard time buying groceries and medicine, they're having a hard time buying gas to get there to buy those things. And, one of the ways that government can help, we can't price fix. That's communism. I would never participate in that. But one of the ways we can help when we hit times like this is lighten the tax burden, and that's what we're trying to do.
So I guess the pushback from people would be what stops the gas companies, the gas stations from just raising the price anyway once that tax is lifted?
Well, I hope it would be good conscience and the fear of Almighty God, to be honest with you, brother. Will there be someone who tries that? Perhaps. Shame on them. They're going to stand before the Lord someday if they're price gouging at this time. You know, there's a story in Nehemiah chapter 5, Chris, and it's Nehemiah's gone back to rebuild the walls in Jerusalem, and he goes to the people, and they say, we have had to sell our children off into bondage to be able to pay the king's tax. And Nehemiah says these words. He said, I became very angry, and I contended with the nobles. So this is my way of contending with the nobles. Sometimes we in government feel like we have an entitlement to people's tax dollars. I actually think we have an obligation not only to secure the rights of the people, but also in times like this, if we can afford to, without breaking something in government, lighten the tax load. And I think that's what this does.
We're talking with State Representative Monty Fritts, who is on the campaign trail. He is a gubernatorial candidate in the state of Tennessee, going up against Marsha Blackburn and John Rose. It does seem like you have a bit of an uphill battle during this gubernatorial campaign, but I've asked everybody the same question, and I'll ask you. I know we've talked before about this, but I do want to get you on the record where you stand on medical marijuana in this state. We have asked the same question on this program to John Rose and to Marsha Blackburn. They have said that they are against it. I said, well, if it came to a vote from the people and it went to your desk, would you veto it? Both of them said yes, they would veto it. So I'll ask you the same question. Where do you stand on medical marijuana in the state of Tennessee? And if you are against it, if it was to come to a vote from the people, would you veto a bill like that?
I think we need a natural alternative. I'm supportive of the medical marijuana under some conditions, and I don't intend to just wait. I intend to form a task force, if you will, that helps us develop a good policy. I think our veterans, who we continually send off into combat, if they can get a natural alternative to the synthesized opioids that in many cases they're taking now for pain and PTSD, our cancer patients, our epileptic sufferers, if there's a natural remedy to that, I think there is an opportunity. And with what President Trump did with the rescheduling, I think we have an opening to do that. Sometimes I think you have to seize the moment of the opportunity to help. Now, Chris, I don't want Big Pharma to be any part of it because I don't trust them. I think they want to synthesize any plant, any natural substance to be able to make it more addictive and to make more money. So I don't trust the big pharma companies. I don't trust what I often call the Colorado pothead lobby because I think they're just looking for money for an addiction through that money. And I'm not going to be supportive at all of public recreational use of marijuana, period. Full stop. The other group that I think we have to contend with is an over-collection of revenue on these substances. We see that in alcohol. We see that in other things that government gets their greedy hands into it. I think we can get the right group of people together. I intend to do this. I intend to lead this to get a policy that we can offer to the members of the General Assembly, and then hopefully they will follow with legislation in something that would accomplish a natural alternative that does not lead to public use, that does not recreational use, and does not lead to synthetic forms that are going to be detrimental to our fellow Tennesseans.
So when do you think it would be okay to prescribe medical marijuana? Because I don't think that we're calling for the California walk up and get a prescription from a doctor on a street corner because I have a bit of anxiety. I think that the way it sounds like you're saying it's for serious conditions.
Absolutely. I'll give you an example, Chris. We just worked. I'm the chairman of the Veterans Caucus for the Tennessee House, and we worked with a group of people to get on this clinical trial with Dr. Terry offered the bill in the House for the Ibogaine treatments. Look, I'm fortunate. God has blessed me. I don't have the night terrors. I don't have the addictions that many of my veteran friends are suffering, but they are real. And we owe it to I'm going to start with our veteran community. We owe it to them to provide a natural alternative to these synthesized drugs that in many cases, and this is what people have told me, friends of mine that have come to testify at our Veterans Caucus meetings, and that they're so addictive and they're so zombied that they can't think and they're not themselves. We heard testimony of wives saying, hey, I got my husband back. If we can alleviate some of the pain and suffering from our veteran community, and I mentioned cancer patients and epileptics, I'm not narrowing it to just those. But I know I've had those groups come and talk to me and say there is a natural alternative. And I'm not talking about, again, something synthetically formed to get higher THC values and all that. I'm talking about just a natural alternative that a doctor and under the care of that doctor can prescribe to them. I think that's a place we can get to.
Well, I think that a lot of Tennesseans are actually going to be open to that, and I think that just anecdotal evidence from this show, a lot of our listeners would vibe with that as well. Where are you at on? And I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but Ron DeSantis talks about abolishing property taxes. What's your take on property taxes? Is it a necessary evil for the state of Tennessee when it comes to revenue, or is it something that you could see in a Monty Fritts administration that you would be willing to talk about getting rid of?
Well, Monty Fritts has already tried to reform property taxes in Tennessee, and unfortunately, I've not been able to I've not been convincing enough to my fellow colleagues to get them to move. Our Constitution allows counties to collect property taxes for revenue, and that's necessary. But what we're doing today, Chris, is we're taxing against unrealized capital gains in Tennessee. So every 4 to 5 years, there's a reassessment or reappraisal of the value of the property. You pay $300,000 for your house 10 years ago; it's valued at $600,000 now. Taxation against unrealized capital gains is wrong. So the bill I offered last year would have ended that. It would have put a stake in the ground at 2020, or we could make it at 2022, or what you've paid for your property since, and assess the property tax against that. And second, in Tennessee, we should never have old person or young person citizen evicted from their home because of delinquency and property tax. I'm not talking about changing estate settlement and all those kinds of things. I'm just saying to kick that 65-year-old veteran or that 42-year-old mom or whatever the case may be out of their home that they own because they've fallen delinquent in taxes is an immoral thing. My focus is going to be reforming property taxes in Tennessee so that we get rid of this unrealized capital gains tax that we're using now, the assessments, basically appraisals, and that we fix that so we can't be evicted. Chris, that doesn't mean if at my advanced age, I'll be 63 this year. Still pretty good for a 63-year-old. I think I'm young, 63-year-old. But if I find myself delinquent on property taxes, I shouldn't be kicked out of my house. Now, when I pass or when I sell that home, I should have to satisfy that tax that I hadn't paid, right, as part of the settlement of the estate. But my big thing right now, my first step on this is let's get away from the eviction. And one last thing I'll say on that. I'm not opposed to getting rid of property taxes altogether because I'm not a fan of this, but it is in the Constitution. We would have to change the Constitution to do that, and we would have to – I think we spend too much of our money. You and I've talked about this before. Our state budgets and many of the county budgets, we've allowed our expenditures to grow too much, which means we have to collect those dollars. I'm a small, low-tax person. I want us to get there. But for what is necessary for schools, roads, emergency services, those things that are constitutional and approved in a county charter, there would have to be something to replace that. And I think we have to move cautiously to get to what that is.
We're talking with State Representative Monty Fritts on the line with us now. He wants to be your governor in the state of Tennessee. We got a primary on the way. How would, if you're running the state, how do you ensure that we're not the little brother to Florida and Texas, but we actually become the conservative leader in the country that I think Tennessee should be?
Well, I think some of that we are now. I think we've had, I'm going to be candid, I say this everywhere, it gets me in trouble. I think we have too many weak males in politics, Chris, that are afraid to take on tough issues. I have not been afraid to. We've taken on geoengineering. We've taken on marriage. The solemnity of it in the state of Tennessee. We've taken on illegals. We did that before it became popular this year in putting stiff penalties on illegals who commit crimes in Tennessee. I think that we need a boldness that we have not experienced, just to be honest with you, in some time. I think we need to resurrect a little bit of the DNA of the David Crockett's, the Alvin Yorks, the George Jordans of Tennessee. And I think it's time to get someone who has led in combat and who has led very complex nuclear operations. I think it's time for Tennessee to have a much more leading role in not just encouraging nuclear industry into Tennessee, because that's kind of part of my life, being where I live and what I've done for a living, but also leading in energy policy, something that, we developed my first year in. We established an energy policy with one big goal: to become a net exporter of kilowatts in Tennessee. And then the second year, we restructured the State Energy Policy Council to ensure that we have subject matter experts who can advise the governor and the General Assembly on what our energy policy ought to be in Tennessee. And have a seat at the table with the federal government among many things, including the geoengineering, and make our demands known that we are tired of suffering under poor energy decisions, usually by the Democrats, right? President Trump's helped us some just in this term in energy and keeping coal-fired plants open, but also in the geoengineering. Many Tennesseans are not happy that we are injecting chemicals into the sky that we're drinking, eating, or absorbing or breathing, and we need an assertive governor, and we'll take that on with the federal government. So we demand some action on your behalf as well, that you get engaged in this. I think Tennesseans are looking for that. I think it is in our DNA as volunteers, the volunteer state, to lead. We've been doing that for 220 years. I think we reacquire that. We shouldn't be looking to a DeSantis to lead. That person ought to be coming from the great state of Tennessee.
I tend to agree with you. Monty Fritts is running for governor in Tennessee. Where can we learn more about your campaign? And I got a lot of people texting in asking how they can help. Will you give us an answer on that?
Yeah, pray for me. Pray that I'll do what's right and holy in God's eyes. Pray that I'll remember my oath to the Constitution I took first in 1983 when I joined the Army. And pray that I'll keep a servant's heart, be assertive and firm and convicted and compassionate, but keep a servant's heart. Just like our Lord Jesus, there's a time to kick over the tables, and there is a time to wash feet. We need a little bit of both in Tennessee. And you can find me at any of the social media sites. Look up Monty Fritts, or go to Fritts, Fritts, the number 4, TN.com, FrittsForTN.com.
Monty Fritts, thank you for your time, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris.
10:53, this is Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes and Vaults. They're our locally veteran-owned, family-run safe and vault door business right here in Middle Tennessee, based in Shelbyville, for matter of fact. And let's be honest, a lot of us want a safe, but we've been putting it off because we got to figure out which one to buy, where to put it, how to get it installed. This is exactly what Aaron and his sons are going to help you figure out. They're going to help you choose the best safe for your needs and your budget. It starts on their YouTube page, actually. Search Parker Safes on YouTube and find a detailed video review of every safe that they have in stock. From there, they'll give you some advice on the best place to put it. They'll deliver it, and they'll carefully install it themselves, discreetly and professionally. Aaron's been telling me, man, they got some great deals going on right now. Tons of amazing safes in stock, ready to go. Not safes that can be tipped over by a teenager and pried open. No, real safes from American Security, Rhino, Liberty, Heyman, and more. Don't put it off any longer. The perfect safe is waiting for you at Parker Safes in Shelbyville. 931-842-6445. 931-842-6445. That is Aaron's personal number. It's Parker Safes and Vaults. Mention the Chris Hand Show, and you'll get a free pistol safe while supplies last. ParkerSafes.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and this morning we are out and about at my house, my brand new house that I've been talking about on the radio, with Nate from USS. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm excellent. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
We invited Nate out. Now, obviously, when you're a new homeowner, especially when you buy a house that's got a few years on it, you don't know what you're dealing with in terms of foundation. And I know that Nate knows a lot more about what I don't see and what I don't know about than I do. So bring the experts out and get them to check out your house. Hey guys, Matt Murphy again with Nate with USS, and Nate has just wrapped up kind of a look at the house. And Nate, what'd you find?
Well, your house is in pretty good shape for the age of it. I had to look pretty hard to find.
Okay.
Your house being on a slope like it is here, I think we could do a lot of good by trying to terminate your downspouts a little further from the house there.
Okay.
Roof water is the killer of foundations, and so if we can just get it to a positive grade to drain away from your house, I think that's real cheap insurance.
You want to kind of get it out and downhill.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So
the idea.
make sure that it doesn't come right back down towards the foundation walls and causing issues, settlement or leakage.
Now, if folks are watching this video and they are like, we need to get Nate out to the house to do a look. I mean, it took, I watched you do it. It's, 30, 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
To do a comprehensive kind of an examination around the house. And they just give you a call and schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call our main phone number, or you can call reach USSTN.com and schedule right through the website there. Our girls in the call center will get back to you just about immediately, as long as it's during business hours. So
this just makes a lot of sense, folks, for you guys to do an examination of your house like we've done, to check it out. I'm going to get those gutters done with Nate and his team at USS, and then we'll do a video and let you know how those look at the end of all of this. So thank you, guys.
Hey, that'd be great.
We appreciate you, brother.
Matt,
All
we
right.
appreciate you.
Rain off and on all day for the next several days, and then the city of Nashville suing Publix over the opioid epidemic. This story and more coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. I'll tell you what, man, every time we have Monty Fritts on, the text line goes bananas for him, saying that that's who they're going to vote for.
He talks about real things.
He's authentic, and I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm going to be voting for Monty Fritts. I just am, and that's who I'm going to vote for in the primary. When it comes to the general election, I'm going to vote for whatever Republican's on the ticket. Just spoiler alert. That's just how it works. But I like Monty a lot. Monty seems like a real person. I don't know, like maybe I'm not supposed to do that. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it's going to piss off the Marsha Blackburn people. Maybe it's going to piss off the John Rose people. But I've had the opportunity to interview all of them, and the only time I feel like I'm talking to a real person is when I'm talking to Monty Fritts. So that's what I'm doing. I don't know. I also think it's important to acknowledge that Monty has an uphill battle. He really does. He doesn't have the name recognition of either of the other two candidates. I think that he should be doing more on social media to really light the young vote on fire. And there's been some lack of action there. And Blackburn has a lot of support. But, I gotta do what I think is the right move, not the politically beneficial move. Like, I could absolutely come out here and be like, I'm voting for Marsha Blackburn because that's what we all need to do as Tennesseans. And I don't have really anything against Marsha. I think she's a nice enough person. But I think Monty's a real guy. And that wins my vote every single time. Should I have said that? Maybe I shouldn't have. If I get locked out of a Marsha Blackburn administration, just know why. It's 11:01. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers, we've got crashes. 24 eastbound in Chilton, right there at exit 35, and on the West End Avenue at Bowling Avenue. That's an injury crash. Got some light showers moving through the area, and that's going to happen off and on all day today and over the next several days. Sometimes some of the rain could be heavy. Well, the city of Nashville is suing grocery chain Publix over its alleged role in the opioid epidemic. City leaders claim Publix allowed the oversupply and diversion of prescription painkillers. They say that led to rising costs for first responders, hospitals, and law enforcement. Nashville seeking financial compensation and changes to prevent further harm, they say. Tony Carruthers set to be executed this morning here in Nashville. He was convicted of the 1994 kidnapping, robbing, and murder of 3 people, Delois Anderson, Marcellos Anderson, and Frederick Tucker. Their bodies placed in freshly dug grave that had been prepared for a funeral. A coffin then placed on top of their bodies, and an autopsy shows they suffocated. They were buried alive. Here's Action News 5's Michaela Redmond.
It's been met with opposition, including from Kim Kardashian, who called for Governor Bill Lee to test the DNA before it's too late, along with 50,000 signatures hand-delivered to Governor Lee Monday, calling for the execution to be stopped.
Governor Lee and a federal appeals court have refused to step in. There's growing concern in our nation's capital among congressional Republicans about the $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund set up by the Trump administration. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy with the latest.
Oklahoma Senator James Lankford is one Republican questioning whether the new fund could see taxpayer money going to those who beat Capitol police officers on January 6th.
I don't understand why any of those folks would receive any kind of compensation.
Senate Democrats will aim to put Republicans on the record on the fund and on the president's ballroom project as final action nears on a bill that would fund immigration enforcement. But noting a lack of interest among Republicans in putting taxpayer money into the ballroom, senators say $1 billion provision for the Secret Service has been removed from the package. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Sorry, I got distracted. I was watching a reel that Mason sent me on Instagram. Is that real or is that AI?
I think it's real because I watched it multiple times looking for like traces of AI. But the way the bear comes in looks a little.
Yeah, well, it's like in the graphic says bear in home. What would you do? I'm like, I'm shooting that bear.
Yeah.
Obviously.
What else would you do?
Like, what do you want me to do? Offer him some porridge?
I'm going to scratch his little ears.
Sir, let me save you some time. It's the middle bed that's the comfiest.
I was just say, let him get revenge for Goldilocks.
Like, what do you mean? Like the thumbnail says, what would you do? You're shooting that bear every single time, actually.
Every single time.
Yeah. Listen, I'd love to open up the phone lines and get a vibe check on where people are at on the governor's race. 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. We have three candidates, and one of these are going to be the governor. Let's be perfectly honest. Marsha Blackburn, clearly the favorite right now. John Rose, Monty Fritts are trailing behind her. We just had Monty Fritts on, who said that, he's doing a couple things. For starters, he sent a letter to Governor Lee and Cameron Sexton and Lieutenant Governor McNally asking them to drop the state gas tax and the state grocery tax until the end of the fiscal year to help Tennesseans who are dealing with high prices because of the Iran conflict. And I think that's actually pretty noble. I don't know if they'll do it. They would have to probably do it via a special session. But he sent the letter, and it would be 26 cents off a gallon, I believe he said, off of regular gas, 27 cents a gallon off of diesel. I think that would be fantastic. He said that he is in favor of medical marijuana for cancer patients, epilepsy patients, our veterans. I mean, the amount of veteran suicides that we're seeing, I think, is interesting. Interesting. It's dark. It's sad, and we need to do anything we can to help these guys out. And one of the things that people don't understand about the suicide epidemic, which it's even more dark, is that it becomes generational. If you're a young kid and your dad commits suicide, like, you're walking into a life full of depression, and then you are at a greater risk of committing suicide. So I'm interested what you think on Monty. I'm interested what you think on John Rose, what you think on Marsha Blackburn. Where are you ranking them? And then what are you doing when it comes to the current campaign? Are you getting involved? Are Tennesseans getting involved in the governor's race? Or is it just, I'll donate, I'll cast my vote, and that's that? Or are you getting involved with these campaigns? No wrong answers. I'm not going to shame you no matter who you like. I will ask the question why. 615-737-9986. Sandra, you're up first on Super Talk. What do you think about the current batch of gubernatorial candidates, the goobers, if you will?
Well, I'm still checking all of them out, but you made a statement earlier that I really wanted to comment about when you were talking about the governor's race.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you were going to probably not vote for Marsha Blackburn, but you were going to vote for one of the guys because he was a good old boy.
I'm gonna vote for Monty Fritts. And I'm just, I don't know if that's the right thing to say, right? Because when I go out on a limb like that could freeze me out of a Marsha Blackburn governor's office. I don't get any contact from Governor Lee's office.
Well, what I'm saying here is to make a statement that you would vote for him because he's a good old boy or good old guy. That's what's wrong with our country right now. People voting for people because they're friends or they're a good old guy and not because of their qualifications.
Well, I would just say I would push back on that gently. I said I'm voting for him because he is a good guy, not because he's one of the good old boys, but because I believe he's a good guy. Monty Fritts has served as a state representative, I think, very, very well. He's a veteran. I respect that a lot. And I think he just talks about a lot of common sense policy when it comes to medical marijuana, making Tennessee the conservative leader in the country. He was talking about property taxes, maybe not being able to abolish them totally, but freezing them where they are when you buy the house, not letting it be something that can evict you from if you become delinquent. If you're in your old age, you can't keep up with these property taxes anymore. Not losing your home over that. I think these are all common sense things. Then I would just say I'll let you go. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Those are things that, yes, if you would have pointed out, and then said, he's a good guy, I wouldn't have had any problem with that. But just to make that statement because I had not heard you say any of the other, that just, I've never liked that when people say, well, I'm going to vote for him because he's a good guy.
I mean, to be fair, and I'll just just full disclosure, I don't think Marsha Blackburn or John Rose are bad people by any stretch of the imagination. Right. I've met Marsha a few times. She seems great.
Yes.
One of the things,
done a lot of good in Washington. And I really hate to see us loser. Yeah.
And she's one of the reasons why we don't have a state income tax. You can make the argument that she's the reason we don't have a state income tax. So yes. I salute her for that, and I give her all the flowers. I think one of the things that always is tough for me with Marsha is it like even off the air, it always feels like I'm doing an interview. It never feels like I'm having a conversation, and it always feels like there are these guardrails up. And things that, I'm not getting the real thoughts.
Well,
and that could be
realize the position she's in and have been in for so many years that's probably why that guard is up, because so many times things are taken out of context.
Well, and I think that comes that's one of the costs of being in D.C. all these years.
Yeah,
I think she's served. I think she's served well enough, and I don't take anything away from her. But I appreciate your call, Sandra. Thank you so much. Let's go to Ricky in Watertown. Where are you at on the governor's race?
Okay, I caught the end of the gentleman that you was talking to earlier.
Yes.
I like a lot of what I heard.
Monty Fritts.
Yes, and I'd like to hear what the man. I think he's from Smith County, that's running for governor.
Smith County.
I'd like to have him on. I'd like to hear what he's got to say.
I'm open to any governor candidate that wants to come on. They're more than welcome to. We're not picking favorites. I mean, I did say that I'm probably going to vote for Monty, but every single governor candidate is allowed on the show, and they'll get the same treatment as any of the other governor candidates.
And as far as Marsha, she's done a lot of good things, but I heard her say something. I think it was late last week or early this week, that really, I would have voted for her until I heard her say this.
What did she say?
If they put medical marijuana on the ballot for people to vote on, if they voted it in, oh no, I'd veto it. I'm like, you don't veto what the people vote for.
That was on my show, Ricky, and that was shocking to me. And then I think that's
she lost my vote right there and then.
I hear you, man.
I'm open to anybody else but her.
Well, I would say definitely go back and check out the full interview with Monty Fritts. There's also and I appreciate your call. I've done full interviews with Monty. I've done full interviews with John Rose, and I've done full interviews with Marsha Blackburn. They're all available on the YouTube page. You should absolutely be doing your own research and making your decisions based on what matters to you, not what matters to a radio host. Just full disclosure, you should be voting based on what sounds right to you. But we have interviews with all of them on our YouTube page. You're welcome to go back and dive in. I will say this: it wasn't just Marsha Blackburn who said that. Monty Fritts answered the question. I mean, John Rose answered that question the exact same way. Said if medical marijuana was put on a ballot and the voters voted for it and made it to your desk, would you veto it? And he said yes, he would veto it. Karen in Fayetteville, how are you?
Great, thank you. And I'm very proud of you for your interview with Monty Fritts. I was worried that you guys had all gone to Marsha Blackburn. And, she lied on the interview last week that when she was asked about Save America Act, and she said, oh, yes, we're going to vote yes, and John Thune's right with it. That afternoon, I listened to an interview with John Thune, and he was absolutely against it. He had too many other things going. And so she lied about that, and she just ran for her senatorship for 6 years. Now she's going to just do 2 years. She knew that Lee was going to go out, and now she just wants to be governor. We do not need to drain the swamp back to our state. And Monty Fritts just fits the bill. And if people would research him, I really believe in him, because you introduced him first and a long time ago, And I've been, chasing around talking about him, telling everybody to look him up. And I just wish people would realize that Marcia believes that she knows better than all of the people that she represents. She doesn't vote for us. She votes for herself because she knows better. And if you look at her votes, that's how. And please remember, she was the first congressperson on January 6th to stand up and say, no, I cannot support Trump anymore.
Well, and I appreciate the call, Karen, and I get the passion. I will say that while she did do that on January 6th, there were a lot of them that did that. Okay, and a lot of them have been forgiven. And she was also one of the first senators to come back and defend Donald Trump after that. And I know it's still a sore spot with a lot of Tennesseans, and I'm not saying you're right or wrong for it being a sore spot, but I do think that the context is important, and the context is she wasn't alone in doing that. A lot of Republicans did that, and I wasn't a fan either. But when it came to time to defend Trump and support Trump, a few weeks later, Marcia was one of the first people to be back on Trump's side. Again, let's call balls and strikes. And I do think that while Marcia has become a bit DC, she's done a lot of good for this state. We don't have a state income tax because of her. Let's just be fair. Let's be as fair as we can be. Let's go to Patrick in Bon Aqua. What's up, Patrick?
Hey, Chris. I'm with you on Marcia. I've listened to all three of your interviews, and there's something about the way she talks that has always bothered me. But I know she's done a lot for us. But when she came out against medical marijuana, she lost my vote. And although if she's the candidate, I will vote for her.
Well, but, I think it's important to point out, I'm voting for whatever Republican wins the primary. Like that's just the way it's going to go. And I'm not going to hold this personal. I want our primaries though to be vigorous and competitive. And to me, I look at this race and it's no disrespect to Rose, but I'm looking at it. I'm like, at least in my eyes, I feel like it's between Monty and Marcia.
Yeah. Well, I'd never heard of him before, but I was really impressed. He seems to be very forward thinking. He's put a lot of thought into what he thinks is going to be good for Tennessee. And I pretty much agree with just about everything that he said. So, especially the medical marijuana, we've got to do something to help these vets.
100%. And young kids with cancer and people
absolutely.
Dealing with seizures. Like, why on earth? Like, I get it. You don't like the smell, but you already smell it down on Broadway. Like, I'm not advocating for recreational marijuana stores on every single street corner, but like when we're going to say, listen, how about you try this pharmaceutical drug when there's a natural alternative that could help you and has been scientifically proven and documented to help so many people dealing with these issues. What are we doing just rolling out early 2000s talking points?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Hey, I appreciate the call, Patrick. Let's go to John on the road. John, where are you currently on the governor's race in Tennessee?
Yeah, I just agree with most of the previous callers. I think regardless of issue for any candidate to say they're going to veto the will of their constituents, I think should be disqualifying regardless. And I think when you're talking about marijuana for, like you said, PTSD, et cetera, I just think that puts a finer point on it.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I appreciate the call. Let's go to Todd in Gallatin. What's up, Todd?
I think Marcia is unelectable.
Tell me why, Todd.
For the simple fact that she will not debate and she will not answer unscripted questions.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I've interviewed her quite a few times. I have never had to submit a script. Now, I think that she is well-versed in politics, and she's probably in a position where she can predict a lot of the questions that are going to be thrown her way before they're asked, and she has a put-together, polished answer. But I would say I've never been asked by any Marsha Blackburn's comms director, communications people, or anything like that for a script of questions. I wouldn't say that she's only answering scripted questions. You can make the case that she has scripted answers, And I'll tell you, it's like it always feels like I'm interviewing her. It never feels like a conversation. But I'll push back against that. Let's go to Bobby in Nashville. What's up, Bobby?
Hey, nothing much, Chris. That was the first time I actually heard a lot of a Monty Fritts interview, and I really like him, man. I mean, he seems like he's got good morals. He stands up for what's right. I just hope we have many more politicians. I will vote for him, but like you say, if it comes down to keeping a Republican in there, I will vote for Marcia. But here's the deal, too. Don't give Marcia all the credit for fighting that income tax. I was down there with Uncle Phil Valentine and a lot more back in the day. Now, I'll give her some of the credit, but it went for 99.7 and Phil Valentine. I don't think we'd ever got to block that, brother. So I just wanted to get that through.
Hey, that's a fair point. Flowers given where flowers are deserved, and Uncle Phil was a massive, massive part of that. Let's go to Ron in Rockville. Where you at, Ron?
Hey, good morning. Big fan of the show. Love it. As I listened to all the comments today, I think you got a lot of great stuff coming in from callers this morning. A lot of valid points. Some things, I've taken into heavy consideration. A couple points for me is, as a full retired Army veteran, combat veteran, I have recently been diagnosed with PTSD myself from multiple combat tours throughout my 22-year active duty career.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, and I'm grateful for your
fine.
service, and thank you.
Thanks, Chris. I do want to point this out. In my fight for almost 2 years with the VA to get my compensation and some other medical issues that I've been having throughout the course of getting older, I've recently turned 60. And if it wasn't for Marsha Blackburn's office being attentive and helping me fight the fight with the VA, I never would have received the disability rating that I have. And I can tell you honestly that as a senior enlisted individual that served almost 23 years, 3 combat tours, I prolonged dealing with the VA for 19 years after retirement because of the rigorous and monotonous and convoluted and antiquated system a lot of our government agencies have. And I receive no less than excellent response, care, and speed from her office in all of my dealings. When the VA denied and denied and denied, I would go right back, write another letter, and she and her aide would respond, I swear, no faster or no less than 24 hours. And then I had somebody from the VA calling me, asking for submit a higher level review and walking me back through the process and going back to doctors and getting second and third opinion. It was horrible. How many I bet I spent $500,000 of VA money going back to the doctors, just getting somebody else to give a second or third opinion on the same things that had already been submitted. So anyway, story.
I think that's good context, and listen, kudos to her and her office for helping you out there. Where are you at on medical marijuana for veterans that feel like it will help them?
And that's great. I do have a brother in arms, my best friend, through combat. Our tours followed each other, multiple duty stations, and he committed suicide. And as difficult as that was for me, still to this day, and his family, I helped raise his kids as they were young because we were that close and we were in multiple duty stations at the same time. He truly was my best friend, and that was a very hard thing to endure. I'm not a smoker. I've never really cared for marijuana or smoked marijuana. To me, it's a no issue. I could care less about marijuana, but I am not suffering from something that I need to be medicated or have something help me feel better. I think my wife, my children, my day-to-day activities, and my mental well-being, I never am not in the position to say, okay, I'm going to harm myself or others. Mm-hmm. Therefore, I'm the wrong person to ask, because I'm sure there's a lot of veterans out there that it does help with coping. Me, I don't need it. So I'm probably not the right person, because I'm more of veterans need mental health counseling, those that are to the point where they've got to talk to somebody and cut the suicide rate. Is marijuana going to fix that? Probably not.
Okay. Well, hey, man, I appreciate the insight. And thank you for your service. And I'm sorry to hear about your friend, but I do appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Godspeed.
Yeah, likewise, sir. It's 11:27 on Super Talk. That kind of does it for the time that we have available for callers. I would say though, our friend here said that he doesn't think it would help him. To those that say it would help them, I think we should try. We had a government just a few years ago that said if a mask would save one life, you got to wear a mask. If medical marijuana would save one life, I think that's a far better argument. But I'm here for it, and I think that there are veterans out there that want it. I think we should give them the opportunity to have it. It's 11:27. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers, we've still got that crash slowing down folks on eastbound 24 through Jolton. It's right there at exit 35. Over in the Nations, this is an injury crash, Centennial Boulevard there at 51st Avenue. And we're waiting for the outcome of a hearing on the state's new congressional map today. The NAACP challenging the map in the state Supreme Court, asking a judge to block elections from moving forward under the new boundaries. Nashville's filed a lawsuit against Publix, accusing the company of contributing to the opioid crisis. Nashville claiming the pharmacy chain failed to control the flow of prescription opioids. Officials say the impact has strained health care, public safety, and social services, and they're asking for damages and reforms. Tony Carruthers set to be executed at the maximum security prison here in Nashville today. He was convicted of kidnapping, robbing, and murdering 3 people whom he knew in Memphis back in 1994. Delois Anderson, Marcellus Cello Anderson, and Frederick Tucker. Their bodies found under a coffin in a grave that had been dug for a funeral. Medical examiner says all 3 suffocated. They were buried alive, even though 2 of them had been shot and the other one strangled. And a new weight loss drug, retatrutide, is being touted for its ability to increase the amount lost. ABC chief medical correspondent Dr. Tara Narula explains how retatrutide Retatrutide works.
This drug, retatrutide, is really highly anticipated because there is word that it has so much weight loss associated with it. So it is a once-a-week injection like the other ones that we are aware of, and it is targeting 3 different hormones, GLP, GIP, and glucagon, which is different from Zepbound, for example, which targets 2 hormones, and Wegovy, which targets 1. So it slows digestion, it decreases appetite, it helps with fat breakdown, and it improves insulin sensitivity, all of which translates into potential weight loss and improved blood sugar.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
37 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Hey, real quick, the last guy that called in who was talking about his experience with the VA, I can't remember the number of the name. I'm blanking. I'm terrible, and I apologize. If you're still listening, if you could text us, we got another guy that listens to the program, Denny. He's saying that he's having some issues with the VA too, and he was hoping that he could get in touch with you for a little bit of advice. So if you're still listening, just drop me a text, 615-737-9986, so that way we can connect you and Denny if you're open to it. Appreciate that. In the meantime, it is 38 minutes past the hour. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. I might have already said that, but I'll say it twice. We like those guys. You can listen to us anywhere, all the apps, the FM dial. You can watch us on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, and get ready. Buckle up. It's time for the lightning round.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
Felt like I had to do the dancing. It's a little bit slow today.
Just moving a little slow.
I feel like I've been a step slow today.
I wonder why.
Could be anything.
Could be any number of things.
Anybody. Your guess is as good as mine.
I have a pretty good guess, but...
Well, people be guessing.
People be guessing.
People be texting.
615-737-9986 if you want to text in. Will you just monitor the line, the text line for me in case our last caller hits us up so we can hook him up with Denny?
Yeah.
It's like matchmaker. So every now and again we play matchmaker.
We're here for it. I'm here for it.
Mason's in the newsroom, or Mason's in the production studio. Ken Weaver's in the newsroom. And this is the lightning round. We cover all the stories that wouldn't fill up a whole segment, stories that we ran out of time to get to, stories that we think are fun. And we like to do it here. We call it the lightning round. First story in the lightning round. Let's talk about failed New York mayor. Can we call him failed New York mayor already? Zohran Mamdani?
Basically there.
He's the best communist socialist mayor New York's ever had.
Isn't he the only?
Well, he tries to tell people that he's actually doing communism and socialism the right way.
The
real way. Jeff Bezos was given an interview with First Squawk. I think it was First Squawk, CNBC. That's the only show I know on CNBC. But Jeff Bezos was not exactly impressed with one Zohran Mamdani. He said, you could double the taxes I pay, and you know what would happen if you doubled the taxes I pay? It wouldn't help that teacher in Queens.
Pay taxes. So true. I pay billions of dollars in taxes. And it's a perfect, again, if people want me to pay more billions, then let's have that debate. But don't pretend, that's going to solve the problem. You could double the taxes I pay, and it's not going to help that teacher in Queens. I promise you. So you can't connect those two things, not logically. There are more examples. Why is rent expensive? Why is rent so expensive?
Well, it's got to be Jeff Bezos, right? Jeff Bezos is 100% the reason why rent is expensive in New York City, right? It doesn't have anything to do with government subsidies. Doesn't have to have anything to do with Section 8 housing. Doesn't have to do anything with supply and demand, right? Obviously.
I recently saw somebody blamed it on Airbnb. Okay, Airbnb is not the cause of expensive rent. In fact, it's been almost, let me finish here 1 sec. It's already been outlawed in New York City, and rents are still very high. So we know Airbnb isn't causing high rents. What's really causing high rent is government intervention.
Yep, there it is. He's not wrong. Plus, when you tax these billionaires more in cities like New York City, do you know what they have the ability to do? Leave. And then when they leave, so does your tax base. Smart people understand this. What leaves with them is also all the opportunities that they create and the jobs that they create. I heard Matt Murphy talking the other day. I think it was on the podcast. Was it during the podcast or was it off the air? We were talking about Seinfeld not connecting with younger audiences.
I believe I left that in. Yeah, that should still be in there.
So we're doing another podcast today, by the way, myself, Dan, and Murphy.
Mostly Peaceful on YouTube, uploaded at 6 a.m. on Saturdays.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the plug.
I'm here for you.
You are.
I got you, bud.
So he was saying that, Seinfeld doesn't connect with younger audiences anymore, and it's because a lot of it has to do with, like, the jokes are all about miscommunications and timing, right? not getting a message, not being able to answer the phone, things that would be solved in today's world via text message, like instantly. I also think there's a huge disconnect because none of them have roommates. Not one. Does anybody in New York not have a roommate anymore? How much do you have to make in New York to not have a roommate?
Just so much.
Like
so much. Actually, I'm going to look up the average price of a 1-bedroom.
You should. Like and like a broke person's 1-bedroom.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need like a Manhattan skyrise. Just the average price. I mean, you think about George was unemployed pretty much most of the show.
Yeah.
He had that run with the Yankees that was pretty good. But he was living in a 1-bedroom apartment unemployed. I think he was the only one with a roommate after a while before Susan died. But you talk about the disconnect in timelines. Seinfeld's not going to connect with a younger audience. There's no roommates. It doesn't make any sense. Did you pull up the price?
Yeah, it can span from $911 a month from the low-income areas to...
So you would need to qualify for that.
Yes.
Which what that actually means is that other people are paying for that.
Yeah, most likely. And then for the moderate to middle income households will be $3,300 a month. Isn't that nuts?
$3,300 a month
for 1-bedroom apartments. That's not multiple.
You're probably paying that for a studio.
Yeah.
I mean, like if we're being realistic, like if you want to get in a good neighborhood near the train, near some accommodations, you know,
some hot spots, the good bodegas, like you. Ugh.
I knew people that had a roommate in a studio apartment, and they were making good coin.
Yeah, some of the other options here for very low income is $1,500, and low income with the 80% AMI is $2,400.
Yikes!
Yeah, that's a lot.
But hey, tax billionaires.
Yeah, tax them.
They caused this.
Hit them hard.
Tax the rich. So why would you de-incentivize people making money and creating jobs? It just seems crazy to me. It seems back-asswards. But what do I know? I'm but a humble meme farmer. Got another story for you here in the lightning round.
Another one.
Speaking of New York City, you know what could be causing those rent prices to go up? Illegal aliens. Not just the fact that they're getting free housing, but they're getting free everything. Well, Tom Homan is going to try and help that. He has confirmed an ice surge, an ice storm brewing in New York City, despite the pushback from Kathy Hochul, who has been the governor of New York, who's been demanding that the Trump administration stand down.
Of illegal immigration enforcement in New York City, across the state broadly.
I'm working on something now. I can't give you too much. I'm not going to, flag what exactly we're doing, but I'm going to keep my word that we're going to send a hell of a lot more agents to New York. And what she done, and what was I tried. I sat down and talked a couple months ago, explaining what we did in Minnesota, why it makes sense. But she apparently ignored all that and went a step further in a sanctuary city stance. But here's the problem. We're going to send more agents there to arrest a bad guy in the street, which is going to cause more angst in the neighborhood. Well, you know what? You forced me in the neighborhood. I'm going to do the job. You're not going to stop us from doing the job. You can make it more difficult. You can make it more dangerous for your community and our officers, but I got to do it. And here's something else. Since the jails can no longer cooperate with us and jails can't even rent us bed space anymore, every illegal alien we arrest in New York will immediately fly out of the state. Now, tell me how that is friendly to the immigrant community. She says she wants to protect the immigrant community. Well, she's forced me to take every one of them and move them out of state as soon as they're arrested. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do this job. She's not going to intimidate this president. She's not going to intimidate the American people who voted this president to enforce immigration law, and that includes New York. New York's a part of this country. We're going to enforce immigration law in all 50 states. And New York, more attention is being given to New York in the very near future, and you're going to see it.
Well, I like Tom Homan a lot. I do, and I want to see more attention being given to mass deportations in general. We cut out quite a few billion, carved it out of the big, beautiful bill to help us surge these mass deportations, and I'll be honest, the numbers have been underwhelming. They have. And the administration backed off of it so quickly after the chaos in Minnesota, which was driven largely in part by leftist groups and leftist lunatics on the street doing things like driving their car at ICE agents, which I thought was the wrong move. They were like, well, we should probably cool this down before midterms. And it's like, no, stop. This is exactly what we voted for. Like, we voted for mass deportations. If you want to cool anything down before midterms, I would say Middle Eastern wars, because that's not what conservatives voted for, young conservatives in particular. We voted for the mass deportations, all of them. And I get that they want to prioritize the worst first, but we've had, a year and a half now? A year and some change? I think we should be past the worst first and on to, are you here illegally? Circle yes, circle no. And if the answer is yes, you got to go. And we got to make it as difficult as humanly possible for these illegal aliens to continue living in this country. And we have to go out and we have to find them wherever they are, whether that's workplace raids, whether that's getting into these jails. Nothing should be held back. Optics be damned. This is exactly what we voted for. I want to see more out of mass deportations. We're running out of time, too. I mean, that's the other thing. If we were to lose midterms and then we get a lame duck presidency for the last 2 years, and then, God forbid, we get a Democrat in there in 2028, the window of opportunity, the window of momentum, it's gone. And if Democrats ever regain power, we know exactly what they're going to do with the 20 to 30 million illegal aliens that are here. It starts with A and it ends with amnesty. So get on the horse, man. Let's go. We need more of it. Got another story for you here in the lightning round. I'll tell you what, this story is shocking. I could have never predicted something like this happening. Not in a million years.
Can't tell if you're being facetious or not.
I'm being completely serious. There's no laughing matter. The former Affairs of Black People Committee chair has been indicted for fraud in North Carolina.
What?
I know. How could they have seen this coming?
Breaking news, a former political chair of the Durham Committee on the Affairs of Black People Political Action Committee has been indicted and charged with embezzlement.
Yeah, Cassandra Shayna Stokes is charged with 2 counts of embezzlement and 1 count of obtaining property by false pretenses. That's according to the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation. In a release, the SBI says that she's accused of embezzling more than $74,000. The Durham County District Attorney's Office called for an investigation focusing on the potential mishandling of PAC funds and financial activities that took place during 2023 and 2024.
What is it with these Democrat leftist organizations and this BLM style grift and how it always ends in fraud? Why does it always end in fraud? Does anybody know? What is that part of the game? Is that baked in the cake? Asking for a friend. Should we start? You know what we should start? We should start an Affairs of Black People Committee here in Nashville.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we should start embezzling.
Well, we got to start the PAC first.
True.
And then we could just bait people and be like, you don't care? Do you not? What are you, some sort of bigot? It'd be a shame if someone called you a racist.
Stupid.
We can go find guilt-ridden white liberals and we can say, hey, this will make you feel better.
Stop it. Get some help.
Well, we could be the help. We could be the change that we want to see. Don't you want to be the change that you want to see?
I do. I do want to be the change that I want to see to my bank account going up.
It seems like the quickest way to get rich is to start one of these PACs. People don't think it'd be like it is, but it do. It's 11:51. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and I want to give you my seal of approval on some new tech that Dr. Mitchell has coming out when it comes to healing and cutting-edge technology. Nobody can touch what Dr. Mitch in the Wellness Institute of Nashville are doing, and they've done it again with the brand new Medical Bay 1. This is a futuristic healing machine designed by Dr. Mitch himself. You sit back like you're in an Artemis spaceship. You're getting a full-body massage while red light, near-infrared, and photon wavelengths light up your cells, stimulating stem cells for real tissue generation. This is insane. It actually makes your cells respond the way God designed them to, and it is the most epic healing that you can find anywhere. What you won't find at the Wellness Institute of Nashville is a doctor pushing opioids, painful injections, or surgeries. None of that is going to help. The stuff that Dr. Mitch has is next level, and right now they're running the Epic Spine Special, which means $33 off each and every visit. Launch your pain-free voyage today at painisbad.com or call 615-246-5009. That's painisbad.com or 615-246-5009. It starts with a call or it starts with a click. Start your pain-free voyage today. Painisbad.com. 57 minutes past the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Mason Fleming producing. Ken Weaver in the newsroom. Chad Benson's in studio. What's up, man? What are you paying attention to today?
We're going to talk about, it's a lot of stuff. I don't know. We're going to talk a little bit about Iran, a little smidge there, talk a little bit about the weather's kind of ugly outside. It's not so frightful, but it's dreary. There's no doubt about that. It was coming down a little bit earlier.
I haven't looked out the window in 3 hours, so it's just like, that was like my first.
You're just here.
I just did a weather check, and I was like,
weather
right.
check.
Cloudy.
Let's talk about that. What'd you talk about? The Monty Fritts thing is interesting. You and I have been talking about that. It's a shame that he doesn't have more name recognition. Because I think he'd be a formidable opponent if he had a little bit more.
I think he's just real and genuine. And I think that if they did a debate, he would light the world on fire in Tennessee. I know, that's the thing. I don't know. I feel like Monty's going to come in second.
Yeah,
I'm going to vote for him, but I don't know.
Yeah, she's just there's no reason for it to. She would have to. Those numbers would have to close so fast.
Well, it kind of reminds me of the primary with Trump, where he's like, I'm not debating. Like, you only have something to lose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like if they're gaining on you and you realize if I don't, I could pay the price for it. Okay, then that's when you do it. But yeah, there's no reason to if you don't have to.
But I'm hearing anecdotally from people on the text line that when he gets up there at these Reagan Day dinners, people are like slowly putting down their Marcia stickers and picking up Monty Fritts stickers.
Good.
And it's not from his people. This is from people that have been at these dinners.
The problem is, and you said it, you got to go hire somebody young, go knock on one door, have people film it, talk to people, and guess what happens? You knock on 1,000 doors.
The social media game needs to be stepped up. And this is something I've said to him. I was like, yeah, your social media game, it's not where it needs to be if you want to make a dent in this race.
And none of them are where it should be if you're going to do something, but you've got an opening.
But I've said it. I've said it to him, and it's like even here, I've had him on the show a couple times. I've had Marcia on the show a couple times, John Rose, but every time I have Monty on, they're like, "Wow, who is this guy? Yeah. He sounds great." It's like, well, that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah,
that's what you're up against. Mm-hmm. Where even if you can come on this station a bunch,
and people say, "Who's that? What's he running for?"
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough.
It is tough. It's tough.
But hey, man. Do hard things. Don't do them because we don't do things because they're easy. We do them because they're hard.
Yeah, and he's got he still has an opportunity. I think you're right though. I think he's going to come in second, but then you got to think, what could you have done? How could you have pushed it? If you just change a few things, can you make her nervous?
You got to play to win.
Yeah,
you have.
And
to.
I think he's playing the only way he knows how. The problem is somebody around him has to go. Stop playing the way you do you. Let us do the other parts of it. Just be yourself and let us figure out the rest.
And then there's money. I mean, money does play into it. Like if you don't have the money to run the TV ads, as great as your positions can be, nobody's going to hear that you're for medical marijuana.
Yeah.
For veterans and cancer patients and kids with epilepsy. Like, so while I think a majority of Tennesseans would support that, nobody's going to hear it if you don't have the funding to get those ads on TV or flood social media.
So true. So true.
Okay. But hey, we'll hope and pray. 1201 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.